Hello, how you doing? I'm glad you're here. It's Gummy. Folks, it's insane to me that we're already at the end of March. This is the time of year where things seem to pick up for me personally, and I couldn't be more excited about it. The weather's starting to get a little bit less bipolar. Here in Iowa, it was 65 one day, then a massive blizzard hit the next. And it's nice to say that the sun's staying out a bit longer each day. My mood always seems to be on the up and up when March is about over. And what made my mood even better were these two books that I finished in the month of March. So let's get into it. Here are the books that I finished in March of 2025. The first book that I finished for March of 2025 was Chain Gang All-Stars by Nanakwame Adjei-Brenyah. This book falls into the sci-fi category, which in all accord is what I have been really finding a groove for the past couple of months. The story takes place in a near future dystopian United States. The US government recently passed a bill where American prisoners can sign up for the Criminal Actional Penal Entertainment Program, or CAPE program for short. So the ironic thing about the name, the Criminal Actual Penal Entertainment Program, is how, you have criminal and entertainment in the same sentence or in the same name. The reason it's ironic is because once a prisoner willing signs up for this program, they have the ability to fight to the death with other participants in order to gain their freedom. Now, the entertainment side of things comes into play with their entire lives minus some brief hours of their day. They're broadcasted as reality TV, and the fights sell out arenas, surpassing the popularity of events like the NFL or the NBA. This is where it gets twisted, and it's also thanks to the use of privatized prisons, but you're able to see money's influence within the teams, which are called chains, and between the individuals, who are called links. Links of a chain makes them a team. These companies, or these privatized prisons, can give individuals sponsorships based on their performance and survival. This leads to better weapons, housing, meals once combat is complete. These prisoners that fight for their lives become bigger superstars than the likes of Messi or LeBron James. People wear merch and tune in every night to see these individuals struggle, all in the name of freedom. You closely follow the journey of Hamara Stacks and Loretta Thurwar. Both are at the top of the Chain Gang All-Star list. Loretta being nearly a fight or so away from earning her freedom, and Hamara Stacks being an upcoming fan favorite, they share a companionship through not only teamwork, but romance. Adjei-Brenyah keeps you on your toes as you read this, as you follow protesters that fight against the CAPE program and other prisoners that are thrown into the mess. There are some subplots that wrap up and bleed into Loretta and Stacks' character's arc that truly bring a harrowing experience when reading. This book's main purpose, in my opinion, was not only to be extremely thrilling and emotional, but to highlight all the inhumane and illogical processes that the modern-day U.S. prison system practices. There are many times within the book where an asterisk will lead you to a footnote at the bottom of the page, and it displays a piece of either the prison system, prison laws, laws of war, and how they affect the prisoners or our country in general. And those are nonfiction. Those are true facts that Adjei-Brenyah puts at the bottom of the page. The use of this footnotes truly is what sends this book to one of my top fulfilling reads. Not only was I attached to the characters due to the writing, but I was also attached to uncovering more layers of injustice that I simply wasn't aware due to the lack of education about our prison system in the US. A big takeaway from this book was that resilience in the face of injustice will always win. Whether it is a simple pebble, the ripple effect can move mountains. I found myself looking not only at our justice system, but the ways in which our society writes people off based on previous experiences and actions with little to no context. I found this book was really pulling at my strings of empathy, and I do feel a huge shift in my perspective after reading. And as I mentioned a couple times, this book was just a fulfilling experience up until the very end. And I definitely recommend this if you're into sci-fi, especially if you like that dystopian or near future dystopian type of book. And for my second book for the month of March, I finished Tomorrow, Tomorrow, and Tomorrow by Gabrielle Zevin. So this book fits into the realistic fiction category, and it covers nearly a span of 30 years. You're introduced to our main characters, Sam and Sadie, and they're both at a young age. And they meet in a hospital both in their early childhood. They have some years apart, and then they meet and reconnect back in their college days. When they reconnect, they definitely go back to their fondness and nostalgia of being a childhood friend, and they decide to make what helped them bond in the first place, which was a video game. So they end up making a video game with Sam's college roommate, Marks, who, in my opinion, is the best character in the book. And you see their rise to stardom. Their first game was a massive success. And through those 30 years, you start to see that, this relationship is not beneficial at times and is very toxic. You see the two characters go certain ways in which you're not rooting for them. And that's why I think this book thrives. Zevin does a great job of writing these characters in a way that makes you almost question every move they make, but that questioning is almost an investment in that character. I got attached to these characters more than I thought I would, maybe with more than any book I've read in the past 6 months. And it wasn't because they were really flashy or had really cool, unique lines or unique phrases or unique backgrounds. It was because their circumstances were so drastic at times, and their situations and their choices were hard to agree with. But when they had those moments, when they had those opportunities to choose right, sometimes they did and sometimes they didn't. But those moments where they did choose right, in your opinion, was really cool. It was a really satisfying read. Now, going back to the video game side of things, Zevin definitely has a surface level understanding of video games by reading this, but that didn't really bother me. I know one of the nitpicks of this book is, oh, she doesn't know video games very well, or, oh, she's very adept when talking about mechanics, blah, blah, blah. It's a book. It's not really about the video games. It's a nice, background arc that goes on. But I still think she definitely had a good amount of video game knowledge. So as someone who plays video games like me, I did have a fun time reading and hearing some of the iconic video games throughout the book. Now, I want to go back to the character Marks. Although he's a side character to the two main characters, holy cow, was he the star of the show in my eyes. He's not only witty, but he's very smooth. He is the good angel on both of their shoulders, on both Sam and Sadie's shoulders. And if you ever do get to read this, I hope you come back to me and you can agree with me that Marks was just a beautiful character in this book. One of my favorite side characters, other than Severo in Red Rising. Marks right there behind Severo for me. Now, another complaint about Zevin's writing that I didn't really notice until I read was that her writing seems highbrow, and I can agree with that. The first chapter or two, there is some wow, oh my gosh, what are you saying type of vocabulary. Goes right over your head. I promise you that once you get past it, it's a fast read. It's an easy read. It captured me. And I really did enjoy that experience because I zoomed through this book. Now, I was traveling for a good chunk of this book, but I remember I had a 2.5-hour flight, and I read through it as much as I could. I don't think I put the book down. The dynamic between all these characters, especially Sam, Sadie, and Marks, made for a story that I really won't forget, nor do I want to. I look back in the story even now, a couple weeks after finishing it, and it's easy to say that I look at people differently and the people I hold close. So that leads to my big takeaway from this book. And that's to stay open to people. Stay open to their ideas. Stay open to their passions. Stay open to what drives them, what makes them tick, what makes them happy, what makes them mad. And stay open to their darkness. We need people more than we realize. especially the ones that we claim to love. And for that lesson alone, I would recommend this book. It really highlights the essential connections that we need in order to live, in order to love. Because without them, I don't know what love's like or what life's like. It'd be really tough to imagine what life's like without those people in your life. And this book really highlighted that if you didn't have those people, what a massive, massive hole your experience on earth will be. Thank you for watching. I am currently right now, at the end of March, still going through Meditations by Marcus Aurelius. It's great. I just do 2 to 3 pages a day in the morning with my cup of coffee. But my main book, my main read as of right now is Dungeon Crawler Carl. It's been a fun book. I'm about maybe 2/3, halfway through so far. And yes, it's going to be an enjoyable read, I can tell. Now, I want you to let me know what books you have finished or plan on finishing in the month of April. I'll meet you back here at the end of April with the books that I have finished. Thank you so much. Have a great day.